Hey people of Reddit, what's a nice way of telling a talkative person to shut up? My old boss was this way. I freaking love her, but I always tell people that if you are going to talk to her, make sure you have an exit strategy. If that is a meeting in 15 minutes or that you have to help someone else, anything. But she will talk to you for 90 minutes easy. In person. Drop something. As you bend down to pick it up, change the topic or use an exit line. The drop should cause the talkative person to momentarily lose their momentum, allowing you to make the transition. Bend down but don't come up again. My sister is like this sometimes. So I'll say, I want to give you my full attention, but right now I'm watching something, feeling tired, need to go and plan dinner, etc. Can you hold that thought until later? At work I use the same tactic, like, I'm in the middle of something, even if you're not, pretend you are. Can this wait or is this critical for right now? Another tactic I use is to let them know right away how much time they have. Before you start, I need to use the bathroom, make a phone call, check an email. I can give you 3 minutes, or we can talk later. 9 times out of 10 the person will back down. When you are feeling ready to talk again, make sure you thank them and let them know you're ready. When you are feeling ready to talk again. See my friend, in there lies the problem. Former neighbor was nice enough but wanted to chat all the time. If I was carrying something, I'd say I should really get this food in the fridge. Or, nice chatting but I really have to go and get back to work. There was this girl I had to help train at my last job. She had no concept of personal space. I often had to tell her that I really had to get back to work and couldn't sit and chat all day. Not sure if the same situation, but sometimes first-time workers with heavy social anxiety tend to latch onto someone they find comfortable and keep talking. I dunno, I guess it's a way of venting or relaxing or feeling safe, but it does get to the point where they are oblivious to how the person they are talking to is uncomfortable. I did it when I started out and have seen some fresh airs doing it as well. I had a talker as a roommate in college. Look, I know you're excited about being away from home for the first time, but I have an 8 o'clock class, and I need to go to sleep. Good night. Didn't work. Repeated in various ways several times. I finally said, shut up. Roommate got all huffy. Fine. Be huffy. Just be quiet about it. My guy has some balls, LMAO. Make your face appear worried and pretend that your hand is moving beyond your control. Then politely pinch their lips together with your thumb and index finger. And say politely in a rude tone while doing it. Adding TL.DR. We don't do it on purpose, so just nicely ask us to stop or do something else and we may get the point and stop ourselves. As a talkative person, I can 100% say I usually just don't realize I'm talking too much. It's not intentional on my part, but once I became more aware of it, I started noticing when people's eyes would glaze over or they would just start doing something else. Sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't, but if I see it, I'll usually just stop talking or make a comment about how I'm talking too much and didn't realize it. For some of us, it's ADHD or just struggling with reading other people and knowing when enough is enough. For instance, this comment is probably too much, but I've already typed it so it's staying. Basically, just ask us to stop or find something else to do while we chatter. Eventually we'll get the point. Your comment should be at the top. I can't believe that I had to scroll down so much. You realize that you can read social cues and that you have total control over your behavior. Please don't let it hurt you too much, because if the other person isn't telling it to you in your face, it's because they care and don't want to hurt your feelings. Kind of selfish, but drag another person into the conversation, then sneak away. I've had to do this before, and it works pretty much every time. One of my co-workers used to do this to me. Another guy we worked with would ramble on endlessly about crap nobody cared about. So my buddy would walk him over to my desk, wait for me to get pulled into the conversation, and then just walk away. And since the talker was now blocking the door to my cubicle, I was literally trapped there until he got tired of taking at me. Eventually I learned to keep headphones handy, so when I heard them coming my way I could put them on and pretend to be too busy with work to notice them standing behind me. On the phone, listen. I'm gonna let you go because I need to get to the store, pharmacy, start dinner, get to work, anything. with a stranger. Don't take it personally, but I came here to be alone or I don't want to talk right now. Anyone who doesn't know you and can't respect the fundamental human need for solitude can't take a hike. To a trusted loved one, I need to be alone in my own head now. The hardest one is with a friend or co-worker, in my opinion. But I think saying don't take this the wrong way, but I can't talk right now. My personal favorite in general, let's play the quiet game. First person who speaks loses. Works great with little ones. Works great with little ones. A friend tried this and was rewarded with 0.8 seconds of silence before the kids burst into laughter and yelled "Daddy made a noise, we win," and demanding to play again. Daddy did not make a noise, but this did not matter. I am the talkative person. I don't mind being told I need 5 minutes of quiet please, or okay, motor mouth. Enough stories for now. Just tell them. Usually, talkative people aren't quite aware that they are being annoying. I'm an doc, so I talk to many people a day, many of who are elderly, and I am always short on time. What I was taught in medical school and what I found to be true is this: people who talk too much are used to being interrupted. So jump in and redirect the conversation over and over. Obviously be as polite as you can. At the end of the convo, most people never even realize what tactic you used. Those who do usually get the message as to why it was necessary, especially if I had to use the old, "Your granddaughter's birthday sounds very exhilarating." But I feel we keep getting off track and our time is limited, so I want to make sure we have enough time to cover all the details of your abdominal pain, what you wanted to talk about. Hey, sorry, I'm all talked out and want to just chill, redo my work now. It was nice talking to you. Last sentence can be taken away if you don't want to let into a long goodbye. We have a chatty crossing guard that talks closely without a mask. He always stops people and talks their ear off. You can tell by their body language they want out, but they are too polite. Not me. Sorry, I am in a hurry, followed by walking away. He doesn't bother me anymore, but my wife still hasn't built up the courage. She strategically crosses the street to avoid him. I've always dealt with close takers, but literally putting my hands on their shoulder and keeping them at an arm's length. I honestly don't know what else to do, but I'm not okay with you in my space. I don't think it's nice as in polite, but you can ask them why they're so quiet and just run away when they shut up for a few seconds out of confusion. Be sure to flail your arms as you run. Interrupt them and tell them that they are kind of overwhelming you. Apologize for being rude, but just be real. Usually people who talk a lot are pretty aware that they talk a lot and shouldn't be too offended by you just being honest, but in a nice, more friendly tone. I'm a quiet person and I will always speak up if somebody is driving me freaking crazy. It's worth it. As a person that talks a lot, I'd like to say good on you. You've got the right idea. Sounds like you're looking for firm but polite, respectful but clear. Try jerking off in your hand and slapping them with it. Ah yes, the ejaculate and evacuate. I'm familiar. Hi, talkative person here. Say something like, "My social battery is running out," or "I'm getting a headache." Just flat out tell me why you want me to shut up. Not nice, but I still have to report what I hear once from a guy who was a friend of mine years ago. Give your ears a chance. If you make me aware of the fact I'm being overly talkative, or as my friends have put it, a bit much, I will usually chill out. I tend to retell stories too often. I try not to, but it runs in the family. It's nice when people say something like, "I remember you telling me about that," instead of "Ugh, you already told me that." Sometimes when you say you remember, talkative people will still repeat the story. It's like they think that if you remember the story, it must have been good, so surely you want to hear it again. So, I will usually say I remember and very quickly call out some of the major details of the story. This takes away their thunder so that they don't have a story to repeat anymore. 3. I am pretty cautious with this one because it can be hurtful and I hate to squash someone's ebullience. Unless they are a serial perp. I mean, maybe they really like talking to you, you know? Just say it's been fun talking but you really have to do X. Take a leak, start dinner, get back to work, whatever. Just be honest. I'm pretty sure my MILF thinks I have bladder problems already because of the amount of times I need to go to the bathroom during her long conversations. hoping she will go back up to her apartment. Us being busy with dinner work is no problem for her. Nice as she is, it's usually a 4-hour ordeal of being held verbally hostage in your own home. I normally say I feel overwhelmed. I need you to slow down, or I want our conversations to be more back and forth and less one-sided, or I don't want to be around you when you talk my head off. I understand people have trouble controlling themselves and aren't always self-aware, but it is really rude to just unload on people all the time. There's 2 people here. Treat it like there is, please. I respect this. Conversation should be consensual. If one is feeling uncomfortable, one has the right to express that. I disassociate a lot during conversation. I never mean to, but I always reply with okay, I heard everything you just said, but say it again because I wasn't listening, and they usually don't repeat themselves. In my country we have a saying, let me play the guitar, meaning, there's one guitar and everyone expects their turn playing it, only there's no guitar. I guess it's like the speaking stick, but there's no stick. One time, I said to my mother, Mom, you know I love talking with you and I'm always happy to hear anything you have to say, but you don't have to always be saying something just to fill the space for my sake. If someone is overly talkative to the point where you find this is a problem, they are usually aware of it. In my experience, the best bet is to just be blunt about it. If you need to leave or do something, say so. If they are irritating or you can't keep up with the conversation, just say so. Frankly, it's more rude of them to not be aware of your body language and disinterest, or not considering your time. Frankly, it's more rude of them to not be aware of your body language and disinterest, or not considering your time. Yes, to be honest, if I'm blunt about it and they're upset by that, I have little sympathy, because what almost certainly happened was that they missed the previous 5 attempts to politely disengage because they were too busy talking over at me. My short sweet go-tos. I've gotta run, but good seeing you, gotta get back to it, etc. I don't want to lie or bores. There's always something to get back to, even if that thing is rest. It depends a lot on context. In a group setting, you might say, let's hear what some other people think one-on-one. If you have the relationship, you might say, I got it, or, I see the point. If they are over-explaining, if they are just running on, again one-on-one, you might say, wow, take a breath a minute. I can't even process everything you're saying right now. My then 6-year nephew was at a fishing competition. While prepping bait and hooks at a picnic table, a fellow competitor came over and started chatting him up, but apparently was a little chatterbox, and an annoying one. My nephew deadpan looked at the kid and said, hey, do you know how to play the quiet game? Reply to whatever they said last by, oh wow, that's crazy, what are you about to do now? I about to get a drink of water. Reply to this email, go to lunch. Whatever you can say to get away, lol. Be careful that it doesn't sound like an invitation for them to join you. My good chum, I was quite interested in inquiring whether or not you, my fine fellow, possess the ability to remove those mildly irritating sound waves coming from your mouth for the foreseeable future. True story. One time my dad and I were talking to someone on a day when my dad was having some bowel issues. During a brief pause in the conversation, my dad said, well, I'm about to have some diarrhea. Dude we were talking to was immediately like, oh, you'd better get going then. Dad and I got in the van and left. To this day, Dad and I sometimes wrap up a phone call by saying, well, I'm about to have some diarrhea, so, and we laugh. I work in sales, but I don't do sales. I'm in a supporting role, which I love cause I don't have to talk to people, but salespeople love to talk. So when they start talking, I'll let them go for a bit, then when I hear something I can talk about, I jump in and go, hold on, wait, did you just say blah? Before they can start again, I go into a long drawn out story that I'm making up on the go and won't let them interrupt. As soon as the conversation isn't about them, they lose interest and walk away. Works every time. Hope this helps. When a stranger accosts me in public and for whatever reason I don't feel like talking to them, I say I don't have no English in a vaguely foreign accent, trying not to make it sound like any accent in particular. It works every time, but this has resulted in a few awkward situations where it turned out the person needed help with something, like directions, and was momentarily confused when I changed my mind and addressed them in perfect English. One time a lady with a shrill, screechy voice who was trying to sell essential oils to anyone she could stop replied to my don't have no English line with, "Oh, why are you Scottish? Hey, my conversation battery is getting drained. Can we stop talking for now? Or, I'm listening and hearing you, and I'd like to express some things too. Can you listen to me for a bit? You're asking for what you need without mincing words, and taking responsibility for how you feel. Ultimately it's about how you feel, because the other person is okay with the talking. Nice way and shut up, don't jibe. Pick one. This isn't hard if you have any grasp on manners at all. You be nice. You don't be a dong. You spare them shame. You spare them hurt. You be generous with them emotionally. You be honest and frank, but not mean or cruel. People who talk too much have been told before. They know they do it. They just can't tell when they are doing it. Saying, "Do you ever stop?" will hurt and shame them into quiet. Or if they have had a lifetime of micro traumas like that, 1,000 cuts, they may feel like kicking your teeth out, but won't. Is either one of those what you want? Try. I came to watch the game, and I can't keep up doing that and hearing what you have to say. Maybe, dude, you know so much, and talk so fast, I'm not going to get it. Can we pick this up after? How about, hey, I've had a long day, and I enjoy your company, but talking like this isn't relaxing for me. This is all pretty interesting, but I came here for some quiet time. Can we do that for a while? Double quote. You are entitled to boundaries, and shouldn't have to put up with being annoyed. Just remember they are probably talking because they value you. I was once talking to this guy and he was telling me about the paint color on the walls of the bar we were in. He said although it looks like magnolia, it's not, as magnolia is a color specific to a brand of paint and other off-brands have to call it creamy white or warm white or yellow or whatever. He also explained that you should always paint the edges first, then fill in with a roller. A professional would do a two-man job so that the edges don't dry before you do the rollering. It's also quicker that way and you can get a room done in under an hour. He talked about painting and decor for at least 2 hours and I couldn't get him to change the subjects or talk about anything else. It was frustrating and I really needed to pee. I was going to use that as an excuse, but I knew that the bathroom in this bar used a specific paint crackle effect that would get this guy real hard. That could be another hour talking about how they do the effect. So I had an idea. I just pee myself in front of him whilst maintaining eye contact. It clearly seeped through my light blue jeans, trickled down my leg and made a large puddle on the floor. I smiled at him the whole time. He just walked away. Mission accomplished. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.